Hello, Pixar fans. I'm Zingg. Guess what? Today's a pretty good day to be a Pixar fan because I'm here to report that Toy Story 4 is in fact great. Now listen, there were people from the very beginning who were super skeptical. Wait, what? Why are you making another Toy Story? Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending to a perfect trilogy. Now guess what? I've been saying all along, there's no reason why this cannot be a perfect quadrilogy. And guess what? I like to think I was right, okay? So listen. I've always been one of those people who's very annoyed when people go, no one asked for this, why are you making this? Look, especially when it comes to Pixar. They know what they're doing, with the exception of a few missteps, alright? I did not like... Now listen. Y'all are gonna hate me for this. I'm not an Incredibles 2 fan, okay? Cars 2, okay? That's a discussion for another video, alright? But look. This was not a misstep, okay? This was not a cash grab. This was not lazy. This was a really, really great movie. And look, I walked in skeptical just like everybody else. I'm thinking back to before the Rotten Tomatoes score came out, I was thinking, you know, if it's a 60 or a 70, I guess that'd be alright. But guess what? It was the third Toy Story movie to get a perfect 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The only one that did not get 100% is Toy Story 3, which has a 98%, alright? But they're all great in my mind, okay? Look, when it comes to ranking these movies, it's hard to do that having only seen this movie once. I need to see it again before I give a definitive ranking. I will say that Toy Story 3 has always been my favorite Toy Story movie, and I think it still is, but I love all four of them, alright? And, okay, look. I've always been a very optimistic person when it comes to these Pixar sequels, but I promise I was skeptical, okay? I didn't just walk in and come out thinking this is going to be great. Okay, it was great. Look, I was going to be okay if it was mediocre and just had my favorite characters in it. But it wasn't. It was actually really great. So let's break that down a little bit. What do I mean? This was great. Whatever. Okay. First of all, and I know it sounds possibly gratuitous to go on about this with a Pixar movie, but the animation was amazing, jaw-dropping, perfect. There's an opening sequence in this movie that takes place in the rain, and it looks photorealistic. It's amazing. And I rewatched the first three Toy Story movies 3 days in a row at the beginning of this week. And to see from Toy Story 1 to 2 to 3 how much Pixar has made these giant advancements in computer animation, I think all three of them are impressive for their time, but Toy Story 4 takes things to an entirely new level. The animation, I know Pixar movies always have incredible animation, but it's very impressive. I'll just leave it at that. In terms of the characters, there are some new characters in this movie, including these guys, Ducky and Bunny, who were extremely funny. Duke Kaboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves, was hilarious. Forky, okay, let's talk about Forky, because from the moment I saw him in the teaser trailer, I was a little bit skeptical. I thought this guy can be really annoying, but look, he was used perfectly. He was hilarious, he was charming, he was full of heart, and they used him just the right amount. So if you were worried about Forky, don't be. I think he's great. And all the other new characters are great too. Gabby, who more or less is the villain of this movie. I will not go too much into that, but they took some really, really interesting story beats with her because there were a lot of ways in which she could have been another Lotso Huggin' Bear. She was not. She was different in a lot of great ways. I mentioned that I rewatched all the Toy Story movies this week, and they're all really, really funny, but I think Toy Story 4 might be the funniest. It's really funny. I'll just leave it at that. Oh yeah, while we're on new characters, oh my gosh. While we're on new characters, I'm going to go ahead and talk about returning character, Bo Peep. She was great in this movie. She really had nothing going on in the first two, and then she wasn't in the third one. But in this movie, her and Woody have a really, a truly authentic and fleshed out relationship, which in Toy Story 1 they kind of had just a little flirty thing going on, but in this one there's real depth to it. Bo Peep has some really interesting stuff going on in terms of she's a lost toy, and I won't go too much into that because they do some really clever things with what it means to be a lost toy. Toy Story is a really unique franchise, and actually Pixar does this really well in general, having really great themes in their movies, because I know a lot of family movies have a message, but I find that Toy Story often has really complex themes that you can dig into. Obviously, other Pixar movies do it as well. Inside Out being one of my favorite examples of that, which I have a whole video about that if you want to go check it out. But this movie did some really interesting things because it had several complex themes to look at and pick apart, because a lot of family movies, I want to compare Toy Story to another animated franchise from another studio, The Secret Life of Pets. The Secret Life of Pets is a franchise that is, I've seen both movies now. Illumination, they suck. Their animation's horrible. Their writing is horrible, and they're very, very lazy movies. Especially because The Secret Life of Pets is a Toy Story knockoff with pets instead of toys. But I'm thinking back to the Secret Life of Pets 2, which came out earlier this summer, and I saw it opening day. I wasn't excited for it or anything, I just wanted to... Anyway, that movie sucked because it was freaking lazy. That was probably my biggest concern going into Toy Story 4, because it would have been very easy to cash in on the name Toy Story and people's nostalgia and their love for these characters, but they did not do that. It was not lazy, bottom line. It was extremely clever, extremely heartfelt. There were some really emotional beats towards the end, which I'm not going to go into, but going off that, actually, there are points in the movie where you feel like, where are they going with this? Not in a bad way, but you just don't know. Like in Toy Story 3, I feel like there's sort of this looming thing of the toys need to decide what to do when it comes to Andy, and he's leaving, and there's this looming thing around the movie. But in this movie, it's like, okay, where's this going? What's the gut punch at the end? And it will surprise you, because I feel like they were building to it without you realizing it. So that's all I'll say about that. Going back to what I wanted to touch on earlier was the themes of the movie. There's some stuff in there about being a parent, about once your kid goes off to college, what do you do with yourself? Some things with Woody where he feels useless and like he doesn't have a purpose. And then this really, in a lot of ways, is Woody's movie. It focuses, yeah, he's the main character of this franchise, but this one especially, more so than being an ensemble movie, it's his movie. And that's interesting in a lot of ways, because I've always loved Woody because, yeah, he's kind of a jerk sometimes. He's often very selfish, but I think that's what makes him really interesting, because I won't say what happens, but there are some things where he really has to learn and have an arc in this movie. It also explores more the nature of what it means to be a toy, to be a lost toy, to be a toy with a kid, to be, especially because of Forky, who believes he's not supposed to be alive and spends the movie wondering why he's alive and what his purpose is. And then simultaneously you have Woody wondering what his purpose is now that Andy's off to college and maybe Bonnie isn't as interested in him as she used to be. And it's sort of about him finding his purpose in life as a toy, maybe without Andy, or how to deal with some things he has going on with Bonnie. And that stuff was really interesting. There were really interesting themes, which is why, before I go any further with that, I do want to see the movie again. And that's the big thing. I just really want to see it again, because not only was it fun and clever and charming, but it was deep and thoughtful and not lazy at all. It was... They tried hard with this movie, and I can really appreciate that, and it shows. It's on the same... people are going to want me to rank the 4 Toy Story movies, and can't really do that yet. The only thing I feel confident saying is that Toy Story 3 is probably my favorite still, but what I can say is that all 4 of them are of the same quality. There's not one of them that is clearly the one where you're gonna go, nah, that one's not as good as the other 3, because Toy Story 4 isn't that. And I actually was one of the people who thought it probably was gonna be, even though I was hoping for it to be great. And it was great. So I want you to go see it, and I want you to be surprised, and go in with an open mind, or go in with hoping to be surprised, and I think you will be. So yeah, I was surprised by it. It was a wonderful, fantastic movie. And that's not just my love for the franchise talking. It truly is great. So, in terms of complaints, they're small things because they're not really flaws, but I would have liked to see Buzz and Woody spend more time together, because they really don't share much screen time, and their relationship is really what anchors the whole franchise. But I get it, because it's more Woody's movie and we're dealing more with stuff with him, but I do wish I could have seen more of them together, maybe in more of a selfish fan sort of way. On that same note, I would have liked to see more of Jessie. She really didn't have much to do, but I get it. They had a lot to fit in terms of Bo Peep had more of the spotlight in this one, her and Woody, but I would have liked to see more of Jessie and Buzz together, because I really like them together. So, I'm not a screenwriter, but that's not even really a complaint. That's just sort of me selfishly as a fan wanting to see more of those things. But such minor things, and to reach for other flaws, it would just be nitpicking, and that's not worth doing, because this movie really doesn't have major flaws. It's great. So anyway, go see it, judge for yourself, but I think it's fantastic. So yeah, that's been my review for Toy Story 4. I'm Jake Zingg. Hopefully I make more videos soon. Bye bye.